Hello, Renee Flamont here. You guys, today's Off Topic Friday is one for the ages. People have been discussing this forever. Stay-at-home mother versus working mother. Pros and cons to both. And I speak only for myself, so of course I'm coming at it from the angle with the word mother. Feel free to insert the word father because there are those as well, of course. But this topic has caused division for years and years and years and years and years. And if you are on either side, you have been judged, you may have had judgment, you can't picture the other side of the fence. I'm going to try to help break this down because I think and again, I'm just going to say women because I'm coming at it from the mother, okay? If you're a father, then you're in the group too. But I think that we should be on the same side of each other. That's where I've landed. I know women, I don't know how they do it, and men. They work, they have a spouse, they have children, they have a beach home, they have vacations they take, I'm not a good multitasker. I admit that about myself. In college I had to. You work, you go to school, you're juggling. But ever since then, I'm telling you what, I prefer to do one thing at a time. Now, I make a joke, obviously, because I don't think that life of being married, having children, having a job is impossible for some. It would have been hard for me. I think some people are naturally better at juggling different things at once. I think some people have more stamina than others. That's just the way that they're built. They can take on a ton of things and they never seem to break. I don't know if you know any people like that. I do. And I know my limitations. So I was a stay-at-home mother, okay? And I had a lot of different, again, when there's a toxic person that comes along and they don't get your life, they're dying to infuse their little commentary. Well, don't you get bored? What do you do all day? Well, she's in school now, so what do you do? No, I'm really curious. I had somebody say this to me. No, really, what do you do now that she's in school all day? My kid's been in school all day since she was 3. I didn't do part-time anything. We went from her being home to I found this school that I loved, and she went all day. Now, I went with her. I didn't work at the school. I volunteered, and I would peek through the blinds at the library while she went to recess. I just couldn't leave the campus. It was just, and my husband agreed, and he loved that about me, and I volunteered in the office, and I volunteered in classrooms, and I sat in the library and read about Buddhism, and I didn't leave. Most women, they drop off their kids, they go to the gym if they're a stay-at-home mother. I stayed. She was 3 years old. I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't ready for that. And I volunteered for probably the whole 2 years she was at that location, that school. So, again, I think there's a couple of things at work here. If you are given the gift of being able to be a stay-at-home mother, and you do choose to do that, that's a special kind of person. If you are somebody who wants to be a stay-at-home mother but can't afford it, that's a special kind of person, isn't it? If you are someone that can stay home but chooses to go to work because your career means something to you, that's a special kind of person. There are a billion different combinations all within this spectrum. And I just see us judging. I was judged at being a stay-at-home mother past a certain age, right? Past a certain age. Certainly past, you get into 4th grade, 6th grade, 10th grade, and you get asked, well, they don't need you now. What are you doing now? The only way that I can explain this is your sense of purpose that you decide on for yourself is what comes into play. Okay? It was a choice that I made. Some women might make the same choice, or men. I felt it was important to me. My purpose, I felt and sit well with and would make the decision again, was to be available to her always. Period. It was a no-brainer. And my husband agreed, and he loved that about me, and we both had that same goal, and he never missed a dentist appointment or a haircut or anything. He's self-employed, so he had the flexibility to do that. And I was not employed in the world. I might have done something to help him, his bit, but always available for the child. Always. Now, I'm not saying that somebody who does work is making the choice to not, like, I don't want people that work to say, well, by working and having my career, I'm not saying I don't want to be available. I would love to. I have girlfriends who are lawyers and teachers, and what. I'm not saying you're saying you don't want to be available for your child. But what I am saying is that a working parent has made the decision that at some point they will probably make concessions and maybe have to miss a dentist appointment, a haircut, maybe even a game. Right? That's life. That's normal. And those people will have the argument and the forethought and the knowledge, and they're right. The kid is going to be fine. The kid's going to be fine. The kid is going to flourish anyway. They'll learn independence. They'll learn that not only, but either situation, your kids can learn wonderful things. I am not saying I think it's necessary to be a stay-at-home mother, to raise a certain kid, to let them know you're available. That's not what I'm saying. My mother worked what felt like 100 jobs, but I knew she was available to me. Even if she missed something because she couldn't go because she was working, I knew she was available to me. And I knew in her heart that if she could have dropped everything, she would have. Your kids, the important thing is they need to feel, in my opinion, that you want to be there for them, that you want to be available for them, and that when they are home and in your presence, that you are available to them. My daughter never saw this. Say, this is my phone. Yeah. Me texting, me on the phone. Never. If my kid was with me, I didn't answer the phone. Period. And I was told once in Carline, I had these mothers go, Renee, you need to stop. You're making us all look bad. Because it would break my heart. I'd see kids getting into the car and their mothers are on the phone. When the kid gets in the car, they don't even stop to say hi. You haven't seen your kid all day? You haven't seen your kid all day? I'd get out of I was always way up in the front of the line. I'm always early, very early for everything my whole life since I was little. So Carline was no different. So there I am, one of the first few cars. My kid comes out, I'm out of the car. I'm down at her level. Sweetheart! Like I haven't seen her all day. She was received with love. She knew she was missed. I let her know her absence was felt. If you have a stay-at-home mother who does not, I've seen stay-at-home mothers squander the gift of being a stay-at-home mother. And the kid is not received. The kid is not even picked up by them. I've known stay-at-home mothers that sent their grandmothers to pick up the kid because they feel like having an afternoon. Now, I'm not saying, look at me being judgmental, because I'm thinking of a certain person who I think overdid that And I think as a consequence, I know that kid grown up now, I don't think they were made to feel very special very often. I think that kid felt passed off to another caregiver. I think that the bottom line is, whether you're a working parent or a stay-at-home parent is not the issue. It's what do you make your kids feel when you are with them, when you do have a chance to be with them. You think I don't respect a girl I know who's a doctor with 3 children? She obviously could not have been a doctor if she decided. That has to be decided in college before you're ever a parent. So you think I expected somebody like that? Or whatever they are, a teacher, a lawyer, a policeman, I don't care. You think I expect somebody to halt their career to be a stay-at-home parent and then pick it up later? You can't with some of these careers. We talked about that a few videos back. Some of these careers are 30-year careers. That takes fortitude that I don't think I would have had and been a parent at the same time. I know my limitations. And again, I was fortunate enough that I could make that decision to stay home. And I rocked it. I kicked motherhood's butt up and down Main Street. I nailed it. And I'm proud of it. And I would make the same decisions again. 0 changes. I would make 0 changes. Because I had the luxury and the time to think and be there for her and always be available. That's the decision that I made. That's not the right decision for everybody. It's just not. But I didn't feel as impassioned as I did about being a mother and staying home and being available to her. I never felt as impassioned about anything professionally. Now, had I had a calling to be a doctor or to be a teacher or to be a policeman, maybe I would have gone in a different direction. But I think the universe works out the way that it should have. I think the fact that I have this calling to do this channel now when she is older, and as many of you know, she was in Australia for the last 3 years. Now she's been home for the summer and she's already off now. She's at law school, 10 hours away. So I have plenty of time to devote to this. I can do one thing at a time. I make a joke, but I think I've learned it about myself. I'm not the best multitasker. So when you have a working parent who is raising, I knew somebody who was a working parent on their own, not just my mother, my parents were divorced. And back in the 70s, you saw your dad on Sundays. It wasn't like now, you see them Tuesdays, Thursdays, every other weekend, everyone's involved. It wasn't like that back then. It was my mom, and she was working, and she had 3 of us. That's tough. I look at that and I don't know how parents do that. How do you do that? How? Let alone any time for yourself. That is someone to marvel at. Marvel, right? I had a lot of luxury in being a stay-at-home mother for my child. And I don't think that somebody else who can make that choice but doesn't should be judged. Because I know people like that. And why don't you just stay home? You don't have to work. I've seen women have to defend themselves in keeping their job. Well, that's a little judgmental. They don't have a right to have that for themselves. Because let me tell you something. When you make a choice to be a stay-at-home mother and the 20 years goes by, it's a 20-year clip, let's just call it, right? So the 20-year clip goes by. I knew another woman who did that, raised her kids, and then when they were old enough, she went back to work as a school teacher. So she still had vacations and summers lined up with her kids. Perfect solution. I'm not about to go to work and be a school teacher. I think that is the most admirable thing that you could do, but it's not a direction that I want to do now. I admire women that can do that. they suddenly go back into the workforce, and now they're adding to society in that way. I've added to society in my own ways, but I mean that career-oriented person who also has a children, they have a choice to make, and it's tough. How are they supposed to pick? Just ignore their passion for this career because somebody thinks that their choice should be that they should stay home just because they can afford to do so? Well, that's not very fair to them. It means a lot to many people to have a career under their belt. I explained to you in that video a few back, I admire that. Nothing's ever moved me in that regard. To put my head down and stick with it for 30 years, 20 years, takes a lot of fortitude, and you're raising children at the same time. I think that we have to stop thinking one is better than the other, right? I think we have to stop shaming women who do work because they can't volunteer at the school. I think we have to stop shaming women who, again, or men, that, missed something because their job ran late. They might be a doctor. Maybe they were in surgery. They might be a policeman. Maybe they just arrested somebody and they were on a case. They might be a lawyer. They might be a teacher who has after school care, and those kids' parents forgot them because they were busy. So now that teacher who thought they had the same schedule as their kids and thought they'd be available to go pick up their kids from their high school car line or whatever, are stuck at their job because of another parent. They say it takes a village, right? That's what they say. It takes a village to raise a child. I guess it is all intertwined. And I guess the thought of that made me nervous enough that I knew, and my husband nervous enough that he knew, we knew, as a team, that we only and always wanted to count on each other. Now, I'm not saying she hasn't had, in later years, sure. She had a grandparent pick her up on this day from Carline in high school or junior, she had, I'm not saying those things didn't happen later, but in those years of day in, day out, providing care, consistent basis, I didn't have babysitters. Now, I look back on that and think that was probably ridiculous. I probably should have maybe taken a minute and had a babysitter maybe and gone and do something together as a couple. We didn't want one. I don't regret it. I think we'd make the same exact choice again. Wherever we went, the baby was with us, always. Even after we divorced, we'd still get together. We were friendly, and we'd get together, the three of us. We'd go to eat, but we didn't just leave it with a babysitter. We wanted to be with our child. We thought parenting meant, that's it. You're with this child now. This is what you chose to do. You chose to have this child. She's here on the earth. It is our job to make her feel loved, special, valued, right? And that's how I showed that. I know plenty of people who work and they're showing their kids other lessons, right? Now, I had to get inventive to show my kid those lessons, the professional lessons, to want for yourself, be educated, go for education, know that that's the thing that nobody could ever take away, staking your own claim, having your worth, deciding your passion. I did figure out how to teach her all those things because I was an older mother, so I had jobs and did things. So I got to teach her that. Follow your path. It's the age-old, you can do it all. I don't know that sentence is true. I think that you can, when they say do it all, yes, you can be a married person and have a job and have children, but something's going to give. It doesn't mean it has to take away from your kid, though. You can still raise a remarkable child, but something's going to give. Maybe you miss something once in a while, but that's not going to crush the kid. They're going to be fine. My daughter laughs that every time she looks at anything in the world ever, she sees us in the audience. And that's just been a staple in her life. Two parents always there, and grandparents and uncle. She's had an audience. That was important to me to help her feel supported in that way. Stay-at-home parents have a different luxury than a working parent. A working parent might have to make carpool arrangements for their children to go to and from school, right? Or maybe they go to public school, so the kid has a bus. All these things are fine. They're put in place for reasons. I marvel at working parents. And I wonder how they did it. I think they're superhuman. So I judge in that way. Not like, ugh, why would you work when you don't have to? I think, God bless you for doing it all. And what are those kids learning when they see their parents are doing all that? I'll tell you what they learned. They learned that anything's possible. They learned that anything's possible. I know a few people that look back, their kids are grown now, they don't know how they did it. They're going by a wing and a prayer, hanging on for dear life by the seat of their pants, and they're winging it, and they're getting through life, and they just want to make their kids feel loved. They want to raise productive citizens. They want to raise independent beings who are nice and respectful. And I think either one of those things can happen whether you're a working parent or a stay-at-home parent. This isn't a video on parenting, but the bottom line is making the kid feel valued. I know stay-at-home mothers that wouldn't come out of their rooms for 12 hours, whose partners came home and walked over dirty laundry, whose kids fed themselves in the morning. What's the mother doing? Do I pass judgment on that kind of mother? Absolutely. 100%. 100% I do, and I can't help myself. I'm sorry. You're a stay-at-home mother, but you don't value your kids. I'm sorry. I have a lot of judgment for those people. You'd be better off going to work and letting a caretaker care for your kids. Maybe the kid wouldn't be grabbing a bag full of Cheerios off your nightstand in the morning not to bother you. Maybe they'd be fed in the morning properly and looked at and spoken to. I mean, I'm just saying, it's about making a kid feel valued. I'm obviously referring to examples of things that I've known. But if you're a stay-at-home mother, that is your job, to get up when they're up and go make them food. Yes, that's it. Your job is you're a stay-at-home mother. The job is your children. And I've had people without children who have careers have the following conversation with me. Well, what do you do all day? I started to say this earlier. And aren't you bored? And blah, 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 blah. And I would try to explain to them, they cannot possibly fathom what is my life because they're not parents, right? They're not parents. So I try to explain to them, picture yourself on one of your 4-day, you've been having a blast, you went on vacation, you came home from this wonderful vacation, you're all relaxed, and boom, you get 103 fever. And all you want to do now is go to bed. And you have a meeting the next morning, but you called and you canceled the meeting, and you're going to continue to miss a couple of more days out of your career because now you have the flu after your vacation. And you're going to stay in bed, and you'll see them on Wednesday. Well, when you're a parent, I don't care if you have 107 fever. That little 4-year-old comes over to you at the edge of your bed and taps you on the shoulder. You have to get up. You have to be up. You have to be their mother. They don't understand anything that I just said. They don't understand fever. They don't understand your discomfort. They're hungry. Or maybe they come to your bed because they're sick. You have to muster every ounce of strength in you to get up and tend to that child. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 20-year clip. There is no planning anything, because the second the child, again, God forbid, I don't want to say a child gets sick, but you think you're leaving on a vacation on Monday at 8 o'clock, and your child wakes up and I'm canceling. I don't know about you, but I'm canceling. Or you think you're going to a concert tonight. You've been waiting 6 months. These tickets were so hard to get. And your kid comes in and they're not feeling well. I'm canceling. Now, a lot of parents, well, why do you have to cancel? Get a bit. That's just me. But what I'm saying is you have to be available and parenting. That doesn't go away. You don't get a vacation from being a parent. Even if you're on vacation, you're still a parent. You get what I mean? So I just wanted to point this out. I think we should ease up on each other. I think a lot of us make a lot of judgments, one way or the other, which way is better, which is the best way to do things. If you are bringing up your children and they feel revered, respected, like you're there for them, you've raising productive little humans who are respectful and kind, then you're doing your job. And I think if we were just kinder to each other, and maybe you thought through what the other person might be going through, we can maybe start to close this division a little bit and start to be more on each other's side. That's all I wanted to say. Well, it's probably not all. You know me. I'll come up with more and I'll have another video on this topic. It's something that if you keep your ears open and whatever situation you're in, let me know. You might have heard all your life certain things depending on what situation you were in. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Please go ahead and hit sub, like, and share. Just a little button. Let's get our numbers up. I think we're on a good path. The second 500 videos, I can't wait for all of them. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.